my B Corp journey over the years, like you are a very key component to it, given the fact in 2015, when you were, giving us some advice for Waterbomb, you were saying to us, look, you have to check out B Corp. It's going to be the future. I really recommend you looking into it and kind of going through the certification. And so, yeah, I was just really keen to have a chat with you and to talk through, I guess, the journey that we've had.
It's a bit embarrassing when we think about it, actually, because you then were able to certify your company before I was able to certify Ella's Kitchen, which has always been a massive thorn in my side, Olly.
Yeah, but Mark, I appreciate for a smaller company, it's easier and it's quicker to do it. But I've got a lot of respect for you, because by certifying Ella's, and also looping in Haynes Celestial, and actually, I appreciate with bigger companies, it takes longer and it's more complex. So,
because I genuinely believe, if we wait for governments to legislate, it's going to be too late. And as business leaders, you're a CEO of a company, so am I. We both know what we need to do. And B Corp is the movement for me from a business perspective, and business is the most powerful thing on the planet. It is that vehicle to make the change that certainly you and I both want in business, right?
Definitely. I think for me, like just the process of going through it, and like I've had the joy of having gone through 3 B impact assessments, 2 with Waterbomb and 1 more recently with Earthly. And I just think like the whole process itself is really useful, because you can kind of see your strengths and your weaknesses within your business. So, even for companies that don't actually end up certifying, because they don't get that 80 point, don't meet the 80 point threshold, it's just a really useful exercise to kind of discover where your strengths and weaknesses are, and perhaps where there's room for improvements.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. I mean, we've just gone through our 3rd and recertified today.
Congratulations.
So new news, we've recertified today with a higher point score of 94. So awesome. We're always trying to push ourselves. But yeah, I like the analogy, and it's not my analogy. It's Chris, who heads up sustainability at Ella's. He says it's a great lens through which to look at your company and make improvements to make your company better. Like better on any which level you want to look at. And you don't have to make changes if you don't want to, but it's free. Imagine you've got this free online sustainability tool. I hate the word tool. And you can just log on and you can look at it and go, and it asks you questions which you probably just haven't thought of asking yourself. So when we certified for the first time, we thought, oh, we're amazing. Aren't we wonderful? We're Ella's Kitchen, and everybody loves us, and we're going to sail through this process. And it was really difficult, and we didn't get the 80 points that you need to get to certify initially. We had to make some changes. And we're like, wow. And it just asked us all these questions that we just hadn't even thought of.
For me, like the whole process with Waterbomb of going through it and understanding, how to potentially structure a business for impact has been super useful for Earthly. In the back of my mind, I've had the B impact assessment, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're really lucky to be scored with 123 points for Earthly. And obviously the platform is impact focused. We try to structure the business in a way, to maximize the impact it can have.
So can I ask you, Olly, because, when we met, you'd been running Waterbomb for quite some time. And obviously introduced you to the B Corp philosophy. And I know you've become a great ambassador for the movement. You've done a huge amount of pro bono work for B Lab, who are the charity that run the organization. But why?
Well, I think it's the B Corp thing, isn't it? You helped us with our original certification, and so I've been keen to help others and to share learnings, and it's just a really nice community of people and businesses. And so when there's an opportunity to kind of support, so yeah, we had some spare developer capacity and helped out with the B Corp directory last year, and so yeah, it's just a kind of that's the culture, I guess, that B Corp creates.
And can I ask you quite a personal question? We haven't, by the way, we haven't pre-scripted any of these questions. Has it changed you as a person?
Definitely, definitely. You know, I mean,
What
my pivot to Earthly, which is an impact led, business at its heart, is definitely connected to the B Corp experience that I've had over the last 6 years.
And did it make has it made your companies that you run, has it made them stronger? Has it made them better?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the one thing I say to any other company that's considering certifying, it's a great investment for your business. Not only doing the right thing and looking after people and planet and embedding that within your business, but I think that there's a commercial ROI. It's people are more likely to want to transact with you and do business with you, and and also for your hiring and retaining sort of talent. I think people really love to work for B Corps because they embody the things that people really care about, above and beyond profit. So I feel like it's a no-brainer, basically.
When I went to a conference once in Philadelphia, a B Corp conference, there's a guy talking. It really sort of chimed in me. He said, not only is it the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've always held that, because I meet people that are only really interested, unfortunately, in the commercial impact of making more money. And I would always say, if you're only interested in that, which I'm really, really not, but if you are only interested in that, you will have a better company that will make more money if you take this path. Which makes it like exciting in a way, but really frustrating in another way, that the movement it is taking off, and you've got one company a day certifying throughout the whole pandemic, just in the UK, which is brilliant, but it needs to go faster. And I don't really know why it's not going faster. Why there aren't, thousands of companies in the UK wanting to certify as a B Corp. What do you think the reasons might be?
Look, I feel this year with the pandemic, there's definitely been like a shift in the momentum. I don't know and I know the applications have doubled kind of over the last 12 months, and certainly in the UK. But I think perhaps there's a misunderstanding of obviously it takes time, and you have to commit time to going through the B impact assessment and getting it over the line. But I think people think it's maybe harder to do and more unobtainable than it actually is. Perhaps I think that's maybe one reason.
It is quite hard to do, though, isn't it? I mean, when I try to explain to people, there are 78 different vectors with which the assessment can take you, depending on how you answer the questions. So it's super targeted to whatever your business or service, or whatever your business is. But there are only, in inverted commas, 2 to 230 questions that you have to answer.
Yeah.
But the difficulty is knowing the answer to those questions and then being able to prove it. So whenever you start, I started with my wife's got a jewelry company, and we got to number 12, and we'd already bypassed 5 of them. We're like, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. No, this is just so hard.
I think, like, as well, getting your team involved instead of saying, right, you look after this section, I'll do this section, and then like each week tackling a part of the assessment, so breaking it up into more manageable chunks rather than just trying to like tackle it all in one go on your own is so that's something that I advise other businesses, is to kind of divide and conquer amongst your team, and as a way of just making it more manageable. But like I said, it's just great to know, regardless of your score, where you're at, and the very nature of the questions helps you kind of see where the holes are in your business, and really triggers like a lot of thinking about, are we doing things in the right way? Should we have this process in place? So I think it's all in all, it's a really healthy thing to kind of go through. And something, we wherever possible, try and support others and recommend others to go down the B Corp route.
I did a talk last week with this company who were going to go for it, a large company. And I was saying their entire team was on this Zoom call. And I said, just at the end of it, we were asked to answer questions. And I said, just take a moment to think about this as a team, that your people that run your company are committing, because they're going to have to change their articles of association.
Yeah.
And this isn't for next year or for the year after. This is a commitment forever, whilst you're a B corporation, to the triple bottom line of putting people, planet, and profit on an equal footing. They're saying, to all other public companies, shareholders take priority over everything else. And so this is a huge deal that your company, your leaders are making this commitment. The company that you work for, and I could just see people's faces like, wow, you're just like pin drop. It's like it is, and that's the amazing thing about the movement, is that commitment, I suppose. But maybe that's the scary bit as well that puts off a lot of companies from joining. I'm not sure, because I'm just feeling a bit like, wow. Some days I'm thinking it's amazing. All I ever see on LinkedIn is stuff about B Corp, but maybe I'm in my own echo chamber because those are the people I'm linked in. But other days I'm thinking, why isn't it going faster? Why isn't it going legislating? But
I think it's like I see similar parallels with with companies that are committing to net zero, and I just think it needs to get to a critical mass, and I feel like we're approaching that moment now, and there's almost like people are asking why aren't they looking into becoming a B Corp, and the kind of the pressure mounts from customers and from employees, and as more businesses in certain sectors commit to being B Corps, then people start asking the others that haven't, well, when are you gonna take the plunge and just go for it? And so I do feel like we're getting to a point where reaching kind of critical mass, and the consumer sentiment, certainly over the last 12 months with everything going on in the world, is perfectly aligned with people valuing the negative externalities for businesses, people valuing planet and people and stakeholders. And so it kind of feels like, as we exit the pandemic for 2021, this is going to be a really big year for B Corp, certainly in the UK. It's really amazing to see, like, from when we first sort of chatted in 2015, when you were just a massive ambassador and massive help and support to us, now that you're on the B Lab board, a key part of B Lab UK. So congratulations.
Thanks. I've been on the board. I don't know how long I've been on the board for now. Is it like 3 years?
Is it 3 years now? Okay, wow.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But because we've all forgotten, we've lost a year.
Yeah.
Really, in a weird way. I mean, I haven't seen you for probably 18 months or something.
Yeah.
And it's weird, isn't it? Like time has, in some instances, time has flown by. In others, it just feels like it's just stuck, and we lost this year. Although homeschooling wasn't really stuck, that was just that was pretty dreadful.
And like, yeah, the other thing I was wanted to touch on is the Better Business Act, because I think is it today it went live.
Yes, so the Better Business Act went live today. It's a coalition of businesses, business leaders, politicians, and academics that we are trying to persuade the government to change Section 172 of the Companies Act. And Section 172 of the Companies Act goes to the very heart of the purpose, the point of companies.
Yeah.
And the movement is trying to change that, in essence, to get companies, senior directors to take account of all stakeholders, and not just shareholders, which they do at the moment, all stakeholders in the running of their businesses.
Amazing.
And it would ensure, and this is every single company in the UK, and it would ensure that companies also have to produce, companies over a certain size have to produce an impact report every year on how they are accounting for all stakeholders in the running of their businesses. We have a moment. We have a moment in time. I think we all feel coming out of what has pretty much been a 12-month lockdown, with terrible losses and terrible sacrifices for so many of us, for all of us, actually, I would say, no matter what you've been doing. We have a moment to do something amazing. We've got COP26 coming up, where we as a country also have a moment to lead.
Mm-hmm.
you know, to lead and inspire other countries to follow suit. And, you know, when I was talking before about not is the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. This isn't going to be a hindrance to companies. You know, I think we all realize that if you treat your staff really, really, really well, they will produce better work.
Yeah.
We should be doing this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got to take care of the environment, you know, and it's not really for future generations. This is for our kids. Like, this is now, like here and now, we are seeing the impact of climate change and the loss of biodiversity and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sobering. And I was watching Extinction, the Facts with my two children who are 9 and 11 the other day. We had to stop watching it because it's too upsetting for them.
Wow.
So now is the time for us to act. We need people to stand up and lead. This is what it needs. It needs leadership, it needs bravery, and it needs government to listen. And you have, it's not just a B Corp movement. You know, today, John Lewis and Waitrose signed up saying we're part of this coalition. It's a huge coalition of businesses saying, yeah, legislate. Let's change this for all businesses. And you know, we've done some polling and huge public support behind this.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That's super exciting, and I think, you know, look, there's a lot to look forward to ahead, and we have our 100% support. And just to echo your point about the situation, you know, the reason why we created Earthly was to address climate and also biodiversity. You know, they're two interlinked crises, and we need to be looking at both. And so that's all we're focused on with our project. And look, thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat, and really nice to see you. And enjoy the bath.
Thanks, Ollie. And next time I see you, I'll be cutting off that on the back of your hair.